Hello everyone, it is your boy, back at it again for another video, and this time we're going to be talking about Daniel chapter 11. So we're going to go into Daniel chapter 11, and I'm going to full send the entire chapter. So there's 45 verses in this chapter, and I'm going to full send it all. But there is a reason why I have to full send this whole chapter, and then explain what's going on, because this whole chapter explains history to a T. And then it explains his future history, as in the end times, at the end. But I have to full send it, explain it, and then tell you how it talks about the end times. So let's jump right into the video. So we Daniel 11, chapter 1, chapter 11, I mean, verse 1. Here we go. Also in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I, stood up to confirm and strengthen him. And now I will tell you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings will arise in Persia, and the fourth shall be richer than them all. By his strength through his riches, he shall stir up against the realm of Greece. Then a mighty king shall arise, who shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. And when he has arisen, his kingdom shall be broken up and divided toward the 4 winds of heaven, but not among his prosperity, nor according to his dominion with which he ruled, for his kingdom shall be uprooted, even for others beside these. Also the king of the south shall become strong, as well as one of his princes, and he shall gain power over him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion, and at the end of some years they shall join forces, for the daughter of the king of the south shall go to the king of the north to make an agreement, but she shall not retain the power of her authority, and neither he nor his authority shall stand, but she shall be given up to those who brought her, and with him who begot her, and with him who strengthened her in those times. But from a branch of her roots one shall arise in his place, who shall come with an army, enter the fortress of the king of the north, and deal with them and prevail. And he shall also carry their goods gods captive to Egypt, with their princes and their precious articles of silver and gold. And he shall continue more years than the king of the north. Also the king of the north shall come to the king of come to the kingdom of the king of the south, but shall return to his own land. However, his son shall stir up strife, and assemble a multitude of great forces, and one shall certainly come and overwhelm and pass through. Then he shall return to his fortress and stir up strife. And the king of the south shall be moved with rage, and go out and fight him with the king of the north, who shall muster a great multitude, but the multitude shall be given into the hands of his enemy. When he has taken away the multitude, his heart will be lifted up, and he will cast down tens of thousands, but he will not prevail. For the king of the north will return and muster a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come at the end of some years with a great army and much equipment. Now in those times many shall rise up against the king of the south. Also violent men of your people shall exalt themselves in fulfillment of the vision, but they shall fall. So the king of the north shall come and build a siege mound, and take a fortified city, and the forces of the south shall not withstand him. Even his choice troops shall have no strength to resist. But he who comes against him shall do according to his own will, and no one shall stand against him. He shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his power. He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones with him. Thus shall he do, and he shall give him the daughter of woman to destroy it. But she shall not stand with him or be for him. After this, he shall turn his face to the coastlands, and shall take many, but a ruler shall bring the reproach against them to the end. And with the reproach removed, he shall turn back on him. Then he shall turn his face toward the fortress of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found. There shall arise in his place one who opposes taxes on the glorious kingdom, but within a few days he shall be destroyed, but not in anger or in battle. And in his place shall arise a vile person, to whom they will not give the honor or of royalty, but he shall come in peaceably and seize the kingdom by intrigue. With the force of a flood they shall be swept away from before him and be broken, and also the prince of the covenant, and after the league is made with him, he shall act deceitfully, for he shall come up and become strong with a small number of people. He shall enter peaceably even into the richest places of the province, and he shall do what his fathers have not done, nor his forefathers. He shall disperse among them the plunder, spoil, and riches, and he shall devise his plans against the strongholds, but only for a time. He shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army, and the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall devise plans against him. Yes, those who eat of the portion of his delicacies shall destroy him. His army shall be swept away, and many shall fall down slain. Both these kings' hearts shall be bent on evil, and they shall speak lies at the same table, but it shall not prosper, for the end will still be at the appointed time. While returning to his land with great riches, his heart shall be moved against the holy covenant, so shall do damage and return to his own land. At the appointed time he shall return and go toward the south, but he shall not be like the former or the latter. For ships from Cyprus shall come against him, therefore he shall be grieved and return in rage against the holy covenant and do damage. So shall he return and show regard for those who forsake the holy covenant. And forces shall be mustered by him, and they shall defile the sanctuary fortress. Then they shall take away the daily sacrifices, and place there the abomination of desolation. Those who do wickedly against the covenant, he shall corrupt with flattery. But the people who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits. And those of the people who understand shall instruct many, yet for many days they shall fall by sword and flame, by captivity and plundering. Now when they fall, they shall be aided with a little help, but many shall join with them by intrigue. And some of those of understanding shall fall to refine them, purify them, and make them white until the time of the end, because it is still for the appointed time. The king shall do according to his own will. He shall exalt and magnify himself above every god, shall speak blasphemies against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the wrath has been accomplished. For what has been determined shall be done. He shall regard neither the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall exalt himself above them all. But in their place he shall honor a God, a fortress, and a God which his fathers did not know. He shall honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus he shall act against the strongest fortresses with a foreign God, which he shall acknowledge and advance his glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many and divide the land for gain. At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind with chariots, horsemen, and many ships, and he shall enter the countries, overwhelm them, and pass through. He shall also enter the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape from his hand: Edom, Moab, and the prominent people of Ammon. He shall stretch out his hand against the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. He shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. Also the Libyans and Ethiopians shall follow at his heels. But news from the east and the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go out with a great fury and destroy and annihilate many. And he shall plant the tents of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and no one will help him. Okay, not too bad, only 12 minutes. Okay, so the reason why I had to send this, because I gotta go, I'm not gonna go, totally verse by verse, but I will go a lot by verse. So I'm gonna pick out verses, and explain what is going on, because this is just crazy. So, like I said, this entire chapter is talking about history that has already happened, except for the last 5 verses. So let's get into it. So verse 2, the Persian kings after Cyrus the second were Cambyses, Gomedia, and Darius the first. The fourth, more richer, was Xerxes the first. So we can see 300, the movie, and we can see that. Okay, verse 3, a mighty king was Alexander the Great. The king of the south was Ptolemy, and the king of the north was Seleucus. Ptolemy ruled Egypt, and Seleucus ruled Syria and Mesopotamia. Verse 6, and 250 BC, Ptolemy II daughter married Antiochus II, forming an alliance in 246 BC. Both her and Antiochus II were murdered. Okay. Verse 7, a relative from Ptolemy III became king. That was in 246 BC to 221 BC. Invaded Syria, won against Seleucus II. Verse 9, Seleucus II in 242 BC tried to invade Egypt. Verse 10 to 12, Antiochus III aggressively wanted to regain land, and in 217 BC, but was defeated by Ptolemy IV. So there's a lot of Antiochus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy in this, because they just keep renaming their children that name, but it's like first, second, fourth, fifth. So yeah. Verse 14, 200 BC, uprising of Jews and Egyptians who liked Antiochus formed, but Scopas, a commander, quelled the rebellion. Verse 17, Antiochus III formed an alliance with Ptolemy V, by giving his daughter, Cleopatra I, to him. He planned to overthrow Egypt from within, but failed when Egypt made an alliance with Rome. 190 BC, Roman general Scipio stopped Antiochus III exploits expansionist policies and forced him to retreat. Verse 19, in 187 BC, Antiochus III was assassinated. Verse 28, Antiochus IV plundered Jerusalem and killed many. So there's, yeah. We already kind of went through that in the last video, but basically Antiochus IV was a very horrific man. And he killed a lot of people, and he was not a good person. Verse 30, the Roman Populus Leonidas forced Antiochus to make war with Rome or return home. Verse 36, Antiochus IV thought he was a god, but in 163 BC died from a painful disease. So what we can see so far is that we can see history coming true. Now, I was very brief and very simply breaking it down what happened in this time. Now we can spend like months on these type of history, battles, people, and all that stuff. We can spend months on this. But basically, is that you can look through history in Daniel chapter 11 and see it all coming true until we get to verse 40 to 45. And basically, scholars and say that none of this has ever happened in history. So this begs the question, when does it happen? And what many scholars say, this is talking about the end times that hasn't happened yet. So we can go to Revelations 19 to 21. And I saw the beasts, the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him who sat on the horse and against his army. Then the beast was captured, and with him the false prophet, who worked signs in his presence, by which he deceived those who received the mark of the beast, and those who worshipped his image. Those two were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the rest were killed with the sword by which proceeded from the mouth of him who sat on the horse, and all the birds were filled with their flesh. So, in this chapter, we can see hundreds of years of history coming true. Okay, now basically I simplified things, and to the best of my knowledge, I simplified things throughout history. But we can spend months and months and months on this chapter because it just talks about so much history. We're talking about hundreds of years of history right here in this chapter being fulfilled. And at the end of it, verse 40 to 45 has not come true yet. So we have to wait. But if all these verses have come true, there's nothing stopping verses 40 to 45 coming true. So that means that the word of God is as the highest authority, that in these prophecies coming true are completely crazy, but that's the word of God for you. And we can put our faith that one day Jesus Christ will come back and save us, and he wins at the end of the book. At the end of the book, Jesus wins, and we can have faith in that. Not because just evidence, but because of faith, right? If these verses came true hundreds of years later, then we can trust the word of God. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. Peace out, players.